Alright guys, I know it's been a minute since I had a video, because it's winter up here in West Erie, PA, up by Lake Erie. You know, we have snow up here, it's cold, but today it's like 35, so I've been running my summer wheels despite being salt on the roads. I just don't drive it on the snowy, salty days. I use the Monte Carlo. It's already got snow tires on it. Because as you can see, this white stuff here, that's from Christmas. Over Christmas, Christmas Eve, it started snowing. Before, by 3:30, it was snowing really hard. And it snowed all day Christmas and all night Christmas night. For about 36 hours it snowed. And we ended up with, say, 20 to 22 inches of snow, and it's been a little warmer here and there afterwards, but we still got quite a bit of snow out here. So, but I had to wait till these new tires came for my factory 16-inch wheels. And I don't know if you can see the meat on these things, but it takes my whole fingertip down in there up to the base of my nail. So these are some really digger tires here. These got some digging tread. Well, these are okay. These are still decent. Almost the same tread. I've been running them for 2 summers. But they're, you see how wide that is. That's like 14 inches wide. And this is like 10 inches wide. And you want that so that it cuts down through the snow. The wider tires act like a snowshoe on your foot. They keep you above the road surface. Makes it a little slipperier, but the problem I run into is I can run these 18s all the time with no problems. But when I did the ball joint reorientation up on the for the upper control arms, it created a problem. And the problem is that the upper control arm will hit the factory 16-inch wheel. So I'm going to pull this off. And that's pulling in the garage here. And I'll bring you guys in. And you can see, since I moved the ball joint to the lower part underneath the control arm, it raised this, and now it catches the factory rim on the studs here, which I cut down, but it still didn't stop all the scraping. I'll show you the back of this rim. So you can see it was just scraping the crap out of this rim. So obviously the easiest thing would be, or the cheapest thing, which is free, is to switch the ball joint back, but then I have to keep switching it back and forth. So what I decided to do is to bump the wheel out. So I measured each stud, and the front and rear, all the studs, they're all under 1.25 inches. So I got spacers. Now, before anybody jumps on the spacer bandwagon, these are hub-centered spacers. These are the right kind of spacers you need. And I've already done the other 3 tires. I figure I'd video this one for you and show you how you can properly install spacers. Because they're hub centered, they don't have all the weight on the studs, and it's not going to destroy them as fast. And if you torque them, I know you if you've watched any of my other videos, I don't use a torque wrench on anything, and that's fine, I don't care. But having 4 tires that hold my vehicle to the ground, I'm actually going to torque these to, I think it said 125 or 120 foot-pounds. And I'm also going to torque the wheel nuts on the actual wheels the same. And so you're going to see me use this right here, which is a torque wrench. And that's my boss's torque wrench. I borrowed it this weekend. So I'm gonna make sure I torque these properly and make everything legit. And after you do this the first time, it's recommended that you drive it for a few days, you know, put a little mileage on it, because these will heat and expand and contract with heat and cold, and especially right now it's freezing up here, and when I drive it they'll heat up and then they'll cool back down, and the different pieces of metal, the steel rotor and the aluminum, this is aircraft T6 aircraft aluminum, supposed to be the best, or some of the best, and the differences in the metal will heat and contract differently. So as they cool, it could loosen, and that's why they recommend that you at least check them one time after putting them on. So I've got it all snugged up here, so I'm gonna do an initial rundown with my gun. And you saw I did a crisscross pattern like you're supposed to do. And then we'll grab the torque wrench. Now as you can see, this moves freely because the four-wheel drive isn't locked in. Both your front axles will do that. The rear one will stay locked, so if you have a screwdriver or something you don't care about, take that, put that in the vents of the rotor, and it locks it up. So then you go around till it clicks. And I'm doing the same cross pattern while tightening. And I'm going to go over them a second time just to make sure. Okay. And that's 120 foot-pounds. Don't forget to take your screwdriver out before you put your wheel on. So what I'm going to do is tomorrow we're heading to Cleveland, see my wife's sister. So that's almost 100 miles. And I'm going to drive there and back, and maybe a couple days next week, and pull all the wheels off again and double check the torque on the spacers and the lug nuts on the actual rims, just like I'm supposed to. So in all the videos I made over the summer, you never saw me once use a torque wrench. But I guess this, not losing my wheels, is more important, and not over tightening to where they stress the studs is more important than just getting it done and driving it. And if you all have a lifted truck and you're up here in the cold, you'll do what everybody else does if you value your nice aftermarket wheels, and that is you run your stock tires in the wintertime. And that's what I did last year. And if you ever seen a lifted truck on stock wheels and tires, it looks crappy. It's a big lifted truck with little bitty tires on it. So I needed new tires because the 245/75 16s were done. There's no tread on them. They barely got me through last winter. In fact, I used the four-wheel drive a lot last winter. And that's why I bought this truck, for up here in the four-wheel drive in the winter. But it eats a lot of fuel when you use the four-wheel drive versus the two-wheel drive. So what I did is I went up bigger sizes. This is the summer tires are about a 35-inch, and these are 285/75 16, which measures out about 33. So I dropped about an inch well, it's 2 inches, but if you do the circumference thing crap, it only drops the actual truck about 1 inch. So again, we're going to run these on with the gun. And then I'm going to switch to the torque wrench. Now, I don't have the screwdriver, so obviously, since they're tight enough, I'm going to let the jack down. I'm going to let the jack down, and then we'll go over and we'll torque. Yeah. So. Okay. So everything is torqued, and they look a little smaller, and that's okay. But one of the biggest things is getting the torque right. And I don't torque a lot of things, but I've already decided this time that this is just going to be like a how I winterize my truck for you guys. Now, I have center caps, but these wheel spacer studs stick out too far. So for right now, I'm not going to be running the center caps for right now. And I'll mark these studs all around, and I'll just take the cutter disc and cut them all off. And if you're wondering about this red mark, one of my friends at another garage suggested that I rebalance these tires, especially the ones that got ate up on the rim, on the back side of the rim in there. Rebalance them with the spacers attached, and that's what I did. I snugged all the bolts up, pulled it through the hub center piece through, and spun balanced them, and then I painted the spacer and the rim so that it's lined up perfectly. So on to the next winterization part. And in order to keep myself out of the 4x4 all winter long, what I do is I built this here box, and it goes over my wheel wells on both sides, and it snugs right into that thing, and that holds it in place. And I put 6 or 7 sandbags in this box here, and what that does is that keeps them centered right over my rear axle, and that's exactly where I want all the weight. And I use I think they're 60-pound sandbags. I use at least 6, sometimes 7, so you're looking at 350 pounds of weight, and it's right over the rear axle, right where I want it to be. And that way I can do, when I drive in the winter and it kind of gets bad out, I can still get around, especially with these nice new tires. I can get around without using the 4-wheel drive and save a little gas. Now if it gets really bad, then yeah, I have to put the 4-wheel drive on. So that's my rear end winterization here to get the sandbags in here. And then this is a nice cover. This is a trifold cover I bought 4.5 years ago after I bought the truck, because I used to use just rims and tires for weight, and I didn't want them stolen, you know, with an open bed. So I bought this. It's a trifold cover, so it's got a frame, and it's just got quick release handles here on the, I don't know if you can see that or not. We actually have sunshine today, but here is the quick release handle. Slide the piece out, and then you just move it up into these latches, latch down like that, and then it's secure. So the next step for my winterization is the radiator. Got some fresh antifreeze. Oh, this box here, this box is coming soon. It was a Christmas present from my wife, and I'm so excited. She surprised the crap out of me this Christmas with her and her family. Got together for these, and I can't tell you anything more, but you're gonna like them. I'm gonna like them, and as soon as I get a chance to put them on, we're going on vacation. My boss decided to take a vacation after Christmas because it's cold up here and go down south. So we're heading to North Carolina. And if it's warm enough down there, I'm going to take these and put them on and show you. If it gets warm enough, I can make a video and show you what to do. So right now, we're going to go around to the front. And this is a new radiator cap. If you remember my Christmas video that I put out, 2 of them, because I bumped the camera off. If you remember, I was losing my heat, and that's still an issue. And what I find out is that when I take this cap off, that I'll check it and it'll be low, and I don't know why it's low. I don't have a leak anywhere. So I'm wondering if the cap isn't working properly again. But that's a pressure cap. This is not a pressure cap. This is a factory radiator cap. So I'm going to try and see if it's not holding pressure and allowing the stuff to just go out the tank, because my overflow doesn't hold anything. I think I should replace that, but maybe not. But what happens in the wintertime here with me is this truck takes forever to heat up. So what I've gotten in the habit of doing is a piece of cardboard over there. I cover half my radiator with cardboard, because this thing runs, you know, it's about a 15-minute drive down into the city for me to go to work. And what happens is the truck doesn't even warm up, let alone give me any heat, until I'm just about to work. And that's for running it, and it runs for 5 minutes of warm up because it's old and has almost 265,000 miles on it now. So it's got a lot of miles. I let it warm up because it's got a slight engine knock when it's cold. It might be a valve train, I don't know for sure, but so what I was doing, and I've done this every winter, is I block off half my radiator with cardboard. So what you do, if you want to do this, it allows my truck to heat up twice as fast. But after it heats up, it still cools properly because it's cold up here. So I take those 3 bolts out you saw me take, and that just loosens this cover. And I don't know if I can set this anywhere steady enough, because now the wind started kicking up, of course. So I don't know if you'll see this, but you just push this back, and I take my cardboard, pick you back up. So I got the cardboard there. It goes between the radiator and the AC condenser. And what I do is I just keep wiggling it down in there and under the shroud, and it hits bottom. And then I fold this top flap over here, over the radiator. See if I can get you there. There you go. And I fold this top flap over the radiator so that I can grab it out in the summertime. And that's it. I mean, half my radiator is now covered. And then it's just a matter of putting the bolts back in. And if you guys do this is just 10mm bolts. And there's 3 of them here. And this is just a ratchet wrench. That's the one thing I had available today that was 10mm. And all you do is run these down and snug them up, and that secures your fan shroud. That makes your fan shroud. So all these bolts are now tight. And the other thing I left on is my air horns. And it's getting too cold to use them. So to shut down the compressor, this red wire here goes to the AC compressor. And I'm just going to unplug that like that, and the compressor won't charge anymore. And then down here I have a drain valve that I installed on this tank to drain it. So it's going to get a little loud, but I'm going to drain the air out of it. There, sorry about that, it was a little loud, but you see a little bit of water come in there. That's why the valve is there. It had a little bolt that you're supposed to remove, but you can't get to the bottom of the tank without taking it all out. So I closed that valve. And so I just got some piping and ran it out here with a small gas shut off. And if in the summertime, all I gotta do is crack it for a minute and drain the water. I want to look into an electric one that I can control inside and just press a button, go psh, whenever I want to. It's easier than getting under here and cracking the valve. So as far as winterization of my vehicle, we're going to top off the antifreeze again. If I can do it without spilling. We're going to top off the antifreeze. Get our nice new cap out. And push down on both sides of the tab. And there, the radiator cap is installed. And the truck is ready for the winter cold. And I am not. So I'm going to throw this video out probably tomorrow. Just to give you a little bit of content during the winter, if anybody cares. So maybe I'll do a fun video and next time we get some snow and just go into a parking lot and check these tires out, see how good they dig. So till the next video I put out, y'all have a good new year in 2021. Hopefully it's better than 2020. And we'll see you in the next one.